mean, sometimes you just wake up with a new fucking tattoo on your ass crack. I mean, sometimes it happens like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, yeah, they made like 3 Hangover movies that were basically that premise.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough.
We're not asking you to yank a damn tooth out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Ed Helms.
Though we are we're leaving open the possibility.
And
Nah, I've had too much
accepting the idea
work.
slowly.
Yeah.
Potential sequel.
We're not saying you
material.
have to do that to maintain our friendship, but we're worth it.
I mean, I've already lost a tooth and had to get it replaced due to fisticuffs, so that's gonna be a no for me, dog.
What if I just 3D print you a replacement tooth?
What if it's
and
the
you
same
pull that
tooth?
out?
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
What if we reunite you with your old tooth?
We found the old
That would be
one.
Like your old tooth has opened up a bed and breakfast in Maine with his life partner, and like we found him, and like we just wanted to bring you back so that you guys can like make up after all these years.
that'd be great. Me and the old tooth make back up, and there's his partner Gary, just jealous of shit the whole time.
No, Gary
Being a
is
bitch.
Gary is a fucking sweetheart. Don't you dare talk shit about Gary. No, he completely trusts old tooth, and this is just to make up. Like there's not any those kinds of feelings. Although he kind of looks at you with a little bit of distrust, just a little bit, because you did have his partner in your mouth for a while.
Yes.
Years.
Don't talk shit on Gary. He makes the paella for the bed and breakfast.
Oh my god, that paella is fucking phenomenal. Like I had it one year, and like at first I thought it was just a giant ass bowl of rice, but then I got my fork got stuck in something, and I pulled out a whole goddamn chicken wing. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell? It's like a pinata of flavor. Oh my god, I don't even know where he learned that shit. Like he said that he went to Mexico once on spring break when he was like a sophomore in college, but
Well, I think what
you
he
don't
calls
learn
it-
that.
I think what he calls it lends some evidence to how he might have learned. He calls it Gary's mouth surprise.
Oh well, like that could very well be true.
That would explain a lot.
But welcome back, everybody, to the Argel Talk podcast. This is episode 3. My
Hey,
name
Gary.
is Jake. Gary, yeah. I'm here with Ben, Gray, Eric, and Matt for the first time. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm fantastic. Well, other than the fact that I've pinched a nerve in my shoulder and I've been sitting with a heating pad literally all day.
So
You
pretty
got
good, it sounds
more.
like.
Yeah, pretty
Trucking's
much.
hard work, man.
I just I just feel like Gray does on every other day. Dude's always
you know.
broken something.
Oh, trucking's a hard life. I don't recommend it to the weak.
Well, one day I'll be strong like you, Papa.
Well, with
Someday,
trucking is all that you crave.
someday
Yep.
he'll leave for a pack of cigarettes and never come back.
Right.
Oh, I'm so
Aw.
tired of that
Yeah, well-
happening.
It's happened at least 3
You know.
times now.
Yeah. What about you, man?
Yeah.
How's everything?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
you.
We care about you, despite what you might think.
Fair enough. I don't know what I've done to deserve your love, but
We weren't
well,
talking to you. We were talking to Gary.
Continuity.
we desperately needed a lawyer in the friend group.
quick, just suck up to that guy. Just make it. Just.
Oh,
Buy him a
suck
beer.
up! I've been doing it wrong for so long.
But
That's how you
I
fold
mean,
your shoulder.
just, do you, man?
No wonder he stays.
But I've been doing pretty good, man. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I haven't done too much hobby this week. Just been kind of busy with stuff, but I'm still kind of plucking along on this bad ab Lamenter boy. Working on
He's
this
looking good.
booby goblin
That's-
bust thing that I'm working on for a potential competition piece. I don't know.
So you don't even know if it's going to be it's not for a competition you don't have one in mind.
I mean, I do have one in mind, but I guess I'll see if I get there. I think the deadline's like middle of next month or something. So just if I can get
okay.
it done, I'll put it in. If not, then fuck it.
Yeah.
You should definitely put it in. You get that short stack clout.
I mean,
yeah.
even if it's not done, like, I mean, your stuff's good. Like, is this a competition got like multiple levels?
No, it's just I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cujo Painting, the YouTube channel, the Scottish miniature painter that's a fucking meme lord and a fucking treasure of a human being. He's running a competition in his Discord server at the moment. And
Oh.
there are some seriously talented fucking people in that community, and I don't know if I rank myself among them, but you know, I guess we'll see how
The
it
only
goes.
the only way you will start to rank with them one way or the other is by putting your stuff into the competition.
It's true. I mean,
Remember,
it's
last place in the rank.
You can always ask them, see if they have a special, bracket.
yeah, it's true. Like the Young Blood competition for Games Workshop for the Golden Demon stuff.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I guess there's don't know until you fuck around and find out. So
Yeah, true that,
Yep.
true that. But I'm sure you'll get it done.
yeah, we'll see. I'm just chugging away at it. I'm not doing it right now because I've got to have all my reference material out here. But I got too many things on the desk at once to have books and papers and shit. But
God bless it. I know that feeling.
But how about you guys? What have you guys been up to in the hobby the past week or so?
Well, just like talked about last week, like I've had a real hard time staying motivated to do any sort of like building or painting for myself. There's a competition coming up in one of the Discord servers that I'm on that like they want to do a like a kit bash competition, and I might jump in on that because it's like it really cost me absolutely nothing and will let me try out some design ideas that I had for the printer. But otherwise, it's just been I've been doing a lot of 3D printing. I got my second Saturn set up. Putting it through its paces. It's working out pretty well, and been doing a bunch of terrain pieces. Like, and when I say a bunch of terrain pieces, I really mean I've done a bunch of pieces for a singular piece of terrain. Like
Just the one terrain piece.
like, so I did this. It was apparently it was from this designer who did a whole set of Tau themed scenery, and one of the locals bought the collection because he liked the designs, but he did not have the capability of producing it himself. So he got a hold of me, and I've been printing this thing. It was literally like 72 print hours of work to get the thing done. That sounds a lot, but I mean it's all passive time. Like you set it up, and as long as it starts working, usually it finishes. That's kind of how that machine like to do. But ends up being like this. The base of it was like 18 inches in diameter, and it went up like 30 inches in height. Like it was a massive centerpiece tower. That, I mean, it looked really good, and he was super happy with it. But like that's just that takes a lot. It was let's see, 4, 5, 6. It was like 12 different pieces that all had to come together. And then a bunch of smaller stuff. A bunch of people been looking at like orc bits. Those are super popular right now because apparently some of the pieces for them are really hard to source, like from GW. So they're looking for like other bits and bobs to fill out their kit. And yeah, just been doing a lot of that and searching for files, then expanding my massive STL collection. It's like already pushing 3 terabytes.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have an extra computer just for your STL files, are you really doing it right?
I mean, you don't need a whole extra computer. Like, you just need a whole bunch of hard drives, and I've got that in spades, so I'm good.
Well,
Eric, what have you been working on?
Well, I have been focusing pretty much entirely right now on my Night Lords, finishing up painting my second HQ for my Swiftblade army. He's almost done. Just got to do some touch-ups on the green stuff flayed skin that I've got on him. First time doing that. I think it's turning out pretty well.
Nifty.
Yeah, it's looking not bad.
I've not actually seen any pictures. Have you posted
Okay.
them somewhere?
I think you posted like one.
Posted my Praetor. I haven't the other ones yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I'd like to see them when you have a chance, but yeah, I'm sure it's looking good.
green stuff is not something that I mess with too super often, so I'm always appreciative of people that jump in or that are already proficient with it that do cool stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I see people do all the time, and I've always, been like, oh man, I'll do something like that someday, and now I'm actually doing it because I have a reason to.
Yeah.
I'm always psyched as hell whenever I can just fill a gap where it doesn't overflow much. Like that's my skill level with green stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this massive King Kong fighting a T-Rex model that I got, and every single piece that connects for the gorilla had to be filled with green stuff, and I was able to make it look like fur, so even though you could see it, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, it was a little rough.
I mean, the best way to learn is just face forward into that shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd been contemplating trying, because I got some of those Tortuga Bay like true scale marine legs and body kits, and I'd been contemplating trying to build my own or convert my own Raldoron model out of one of them. So we'll see if that fucking ever goes anywhere. But
well, if you need a winged jetpack, boy, I got you.
Well, that's the thing, is you don't need a winged jetpack for fucking Raldoron.
Oh, that's right.
One, but
I forgot.
Football.
Inexplicably, the dude just stands around on his feet like a jackass.
Yeah, people have strong feelings about that. I don't really care, because, like, whatever lore justification they want to give for it. But I kind of wish that Blood Angels had gotten some kind of jump pack character. Because
Ascalon would have been
Didn't
cool.
they get one? Like, isn't like the Destroyer guy, Alistair Crone?
I'm looking right now. I don't honestly remember that he had one. Which
I think that they should give that, and I can't say the name, the jump dreadnought. They should give him character.
The Incendius.
Incendius, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have a jump pack character.
It's true.
Well,
I mean, honest to God, they need more named dreadnoughts in the game anyway.
I agree. 100% I agree.
I just feel like
I think it'd be cool if they put
model.
Ascalon out, or whatever his name is. Or
Yeah.
the Blood Angel. Was it their original Sanguinary Guard guy?
Yeah, Ascalon was the captain of the Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah.
So, Judiciar Aster Crone does not have a jump pack.
Oh, never mind.
And for
So
what
I
it's
think
worth,
jump
he's
pack probably
also,
has no
like,
jump pack
pretty
movement.
next to useless. Like, granted, I think he's useless because of a slight, like, typo or maybe, like, misrepresentation of what they meant his rules to be. Like, I think if they changed, like, one word in the rule, then, like, he might actually have a purpose. But he also does not have a jump pack, so literally Sanguinius is the only jump pack character for the Blood Angels.
That makes sense.
It's kind of bullshit.
I mean, that tracks. That tracks.
God. Wow, okay.
But anyway, not to,
There's Jake's miss of the week.
God, that was my miss of the week like 2 years ago.
It's alright.
It's weird
Miss of the
how
week every
you
week.
have like options for it, because even the fucking literally who Solomon Khan has the option for a bike or not.
Mm.
That's bonkers. It's kind of like when in 30K, or not 30K, but 40K, when they brought out the Kasaro Khan model, but you couldn't actually get him on the goddamn bike.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was like, who is taking Kasaro Khan walking around? Like, no, every character in Blood Angel should be able to have a jump back. That's just how they do.
Yeah.
Unless they're a Terminator. And you know what? Even if they're a Terminator.
Hey, they did it in
Make
Dawn of
Terminator
War 3,
jump
didn't
back.
they?
They might have, actually.
Well,
I only played it a little bit.
There is that character from Saturnine, Bal Sepetus, that has a suit of jump pack cataphracti armor.
That sounds like something that you catch from a house of ill repute.
I mean, you're not wrong. Oh man, I got the fucking Sepatus, man.
I got the ball Sepatus. God. Ugh.
Yeah, I just really feel like Routeron needs like someone to clean his sword because like I feel like dude's got better shit to do in the middle of a battlefield. Like he needs to hire like Hubrix guy or some shit.
Yeah, well,
he could, but it was so many years before.
I'm sure they had the same technology.
Forever.
They had better technology.
Exactly.
so how about you, Matt?
They fucking made his sword clean itself.
Yeah, true.
What have you been up to in the hobby?
Well, this week I had intended to do some painting, but then I was like, oh, hey, I got some secondhand Screamers of Zinch here, and like I got like 6 more sitting boxes. Let's put these guys together. So I've been messing with that.
Fair
And
enough.
Gotta say, kind of a fan.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that more a little later.
It's so long since I've actually put together demons. So damn long.
There's a certain, I don't know, man. I think it's the same kind of thing as the like orc gene, you know. Like there's people that have the orc gene that just they're into orcs. They get it. They understand. They're on the same level. It's just everything is orc. I think that's the same way for like demons, like chaos or demon players. Like
they look at a model and think, how can I make this a demon?
Yes, or how can I make this chaos?
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, an orc player it's a lot easier. It's a much more streamlined train of thought. It's like, how do I make this orky? Well, you break it, and then you try to piece it back together. That's the best way to make it orky. Demon, you just throw a shitload of green stuff on it. Give it pustules and spikes.
Pretty much, pretty goddamn much.
I tend toward the spiked pustules.
Just spiked pustules. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Or if you're Smith guy, just put breasts on the side of it. Done.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I had
especially tanks.
I had a buddy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gray.
Yeah, like tanks. Just all your demonically possessed tanks replace their dozer blades with just enormous pendulous breasts. Done. Good to go.
just giant Sibian machines.
Yep.
When I was in college, one of the guys that got me into the game played Emperor's Children, in 40K, so they were chaosy, and he green stuffed balls under the las cannons on his Predator, and he referred to it as the sexual predator.
I mean, that's on brand. It's on brand.
He said some other colorful things about it that I will keep off of the airwaves because some of us may want to, I don't know, hold public office one day.
Keep our appearance. Yeah.
Fat fucking chance of that, dude.
I mean, also very, very true.
Ben, any chance the tank was like jacked up on its treads and had some flags?
No. It did not.
But it did have a big old dip of chewing tobacco, though.
Have a sticker of Calvin pissing on the Aquila.
Yeah.
I mean, saying like if you're gonna bone the hog, you might as well go balls deep. I don't know. I feel like he didn't put forth as much effort as he could have.
Oh, there. I mean, you're not. This was very early on in our, in our tabletop, journey. So I mean, maybe he has since then. I don't know.
I did see one time a trader guard where they had turned a chimera into a rolling strip club, including putting stripper poles with strippers inside the chimera. Pretty fucking great, honestly.
I mean, it probably was great for morale.
Yeah, until they got the Ogren stripper. Then it got real bad.
Or real good, depending on where they're at. You never know.
Yeah, don't kink shame.
Commissar likes them thick.
You know what they say, if she ain't 280, she ain't a lady.
That's all right. We got another tattoo.
Add to the growing fucking collection.
God, you're gonna look like you're in a biker gang by the time we're done with
It's all just fucking memes all over him.
Gray's just a walking Reddit.
Walking 4chan.
So speaking of which, Gray, have you been working on anything fun and exciting?
Oh man, I've been doing a bit of a rescue on some stuff for my Crimson Fists. And to be honest, about half of it is rescuing it from my own shitty paint jobs back in 08.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm working right now. I got Terminators in my hand, but I finished a squad of veterans, and I've been working Terminators and Devastator Marines,
Cool.
trying to finish out my insane goal of fully painted, fully based chapter.
So,
Nice.
so you actually want to do a full-blown chapter?
Yeah, I've got 4.5 companies right now and about 15 tanks, something like that.
Do you have like a list of like what you need to accomplish this goal?
Roughly.
Because I now want to help you achieve that goal.
Yeah, if any listeners out there want to donate to the Get Gray, the entire Crimson Fist fucking chapter campaign, just send those to us at argeltalkpodcast@gmail.com.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there, buddy. Like I've already had a guy contact me asking if I could print a Thunderhawk proxy. When I told him yes, his response was, "I want an entire chapter's worth of vehicles. I have no intention of playing with them. I just want to have them." Like holy shit! Like so,
Yeah.
you're not the only crazy person in this area.
I mean,
Man, when I was a kid, I had an entire company of Blood Angels one time, but certainly was not the entire chapter.
yeah, no, I painted an entire company for one of Coastal's APOC games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't own any Primaris Marines at the time, so I'm like, well, I'm going to drown everything. It was 8th edition, so at the time, beginning of 8th, so at the time, regular Space Marines were dirt cheap, points-wise. So I'm like, oh, in the point limits I'm allowed, I can bring 100 Space Marines plus tanks. So that's what I did.
Well, there you go.
I was like, well, that wasn't too hard. I bet you I could do that 9 more times, and,
Bet.
it was a bad bet. I took a risk, and boy, am I... It was a calculated risk, but boy, am I bad at math. What?
Oh man.
I've been working on it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So
So
we'll just
companies are done.
we'll just roll on into pick of the week. Gray, you want to go ahead and talk about your pick of the week since you're already all warmed up and stretched and lubed and everything.
Mouth lubed.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So going off of our thing about sword cleaners earlier, my pick of the week is absolutely the Helbrecht model. And I'm not usually a new model stand kind of guy, but I think they hit this one right on the head, to be honest.
I do like that model, and I like that they've paid homage to some of the
It's
classic
just
art of Helbrecht. I think they've done a good job of bringing it to to life. I can understand some of the some of the criticisms of it, but I think overall it's a nice looking centerpiece, or an artistic piece to throw in the army. So
I like him because he goes right back to that old third ed, like sort of third ed, fourth ed types of grimdark that you really don't see much anymore in new releases. Kind of the old John Blanchard, where your Space Marine has his eyes bugging out, he's all crazed, and there's he's surrounded by a bunch of retainers that are all decked out in church robes. And
like this is clearly not the
night
place for you guys to be, but God bless it, here you are helping me out, and I appreciate you.
And
like who needs
motherfuckers.
their big fight? This guy.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers just straight up got like dead ass candles on his fucking backpack, like just done fucking honey badger of a model right here. He just does not give a fuck.
Can you imagine keeping those candles lit all fucking battle? Like those.
I
dudes,
mean, I assume there's
It-
one guy with a flamethrower that's just
he
like,
needs to pay those servitors overtime.
Well, I mean, if he's got a sword cleaning servitor, he's probably got a candle lighting servitor. It's just got little bics on his fingers.
I at that point I think it's probably just a servo skull.
Yeah.
It's a servo skull with a bic. Yep.
And that guy in his
Floating
helmet head,
zipper.
that helmet is tits.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the helmeted look. I'm glad that they have got it, but man, watching, I think I've touched on this earlier, like hearing people scree about it, be like, that's a really bad helmet because it's flat on the top. Like, shut up, it looks cool.
I just like the memes.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But the memes are great. The people who like are actually livid, they're a different breed of human.
I'm built different.
I'm
built
built
wrong.
different.
you and I are not the same. All right, buddy. All right.
No
I don't know, I
argument for
like
me
it.
on
I
that
think it's
one.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I also like the other guy back there that's like the combi bolter
Oh, the
homeboy back there.
Melter guy.
Yeah, the combi melta. He's just hanging out, living his best life, like, burn another, my lord.
But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the model itself, but I certainly appreciate the memes. Like, it's not that I dislike the model, it's just kind of like Resident Sleeper for me. Like, I understand that it's based on a classic artwork, and that's cool. I'm into that, but like, just I again, it's kind of me having opinions about shit that doesn't matter to me. Like, I've never been a Black Templars person, so like, yeah, sure, great, you guys got a new model, awesome, like, good for you.
I
Also,
don't play them.
looking at-
I'm never gonna play them either. Like but I do appreciate that they are instead of everything moving towards new lore and like because they've been doing this for years. They've been wholesale getting rid of story arcs or retconning shit, and then like for them to still like harken back to their previous eras that maybe a lot of the current player base doesn't even know exists. I think that that's overall a healthy thing. They did the same thing for Mephiston, going back to that like the third
that
or
second
fourth
ed
ed.
picture, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that old artwork with his new Primaris release. The more that they do that, I think that just is. I think that that's good. It certainly isn't. It's certainly not harmful. Like a lot of the stuff back then was real iconic for, just the general artistic aesthetic of the game. Like so, keeping that in
Yeah.
mind is nice. My personal opinion is I think some things they've kind of gotten weird with the art and the aesthetic, like a little bit too cartoony, and they're moving away from that grim dark feel. So I like it when they show that they're still maintaining ties. I will probably never buy the model, but that's just because I'm never going to play that army, and I don't just paint to have a cool thing on the mantle, except for very specific things like my Primarch collection.
Mm-hmm. Sure, and
likewise.
I think that might change my opinion on the model. Like seeing somebody crazy get a hold of it and like do some nutty ass paint job on it, like that might change my opinion.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I could see some people doing some real wicked stuff with that model.
Like I have no doubt in my mind that Richard Gray will paint this model at some point.
Yeah.
I also noticed, which is kind of a cool thing, is that they primarized them or whatever, made them Primaris, whatever the verb is there.
Crossing
But
the
they-
Rubicon Primaris. That's what they refer to it as. He has crossed the Rubicon.
Which is something that sounded cool once, but when they use it every single time they talk about someone, it gets a little lame.
I mean, yeah, like
It's kind
you
of
can't
like
just say,
Rubicon Primaris, it sounds like a truck.
yeah, you
honestly.
can't say like they beefcaked Hellbrick. That's a different problem.
it's like unobtainium from Avatar. It sounded cool the first time they said it, and then they said it about 30 more times. You're like, okay, that's fucking dumb now. I hate it. Thanks.
Yep, 100%.
But yeah, I thought it was neat. They actually kept it was something that happened, I want to say 5th edition. Was that what the Necrons Codex was? It was in their codex that he got his arm chopped off by one of the Necron lords.
Well,
Can't remember his name,
they had a codex in 5th edition, so it's certainly possible.
I think that was the codex they did it. But one of the Necron lords just likes collecting arms for whatever reason. Like that's his hobby.
Trazen the is it Trazen the Infinite? I think.
Trazen
He's a
likes
collector of all
collecting things.
kinds, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's an arm collector specifically. I know
he is. Well, he
collects
is a
all kinds of things.
collector of just oddities from across the millennium. Like,
Very good.
yeah, so there's nothing that's off limits. In fact, one of my favorite little excerpts from any book was the Rise of the Primarch series back in 7th ed.
Right.
There's it's the Fall of Cadia book, where spoilers, Cadia gets real fuckered, and like they Abaddon's Black Legion is like making their way in this subterranean cavern, like to get to one of these pylons on Cadia that come to find out is like it's helping maintain the Eye of Terror or keep it held back. And
Right.
there's like this token amount of defense down there from the Imperium fighting them off, and Trajan's just kind of sitting up like in this cavern watching. He's like, fuck, I don't like either of these guys, but if the Black Legion wins, I'm gonna be real inconvenienced. so he does the equivalent of like takes a pokeball out of his pocket and like says random bullshit go, and like this like capsule opens up and a whole bunch of random shit that he's collected over the millennia just pops out, like an Ultramarines Contemptor from the Heresy pops out, a whole bunch of stormtroopers and their Inquisitor, and then a whole bunch of Space Marines just from random eras. Like, where the fuck are we? Hold, those guys are in the wrong color armor. Fuck those guys. And like just shit goes bonkers. Like that
Isn't
guy
that about the time he catches Creed too?
that happened later in the book, yeah. Or that happened, yeah, same book later on. But yeah, he will collect anything that's just kind of interesting. So yeah, parts of arms. Like he just now, granted, he hopes that he can get the rest of the collection later on to complete the model.
Right. You're just buying it in pieces.
Yeah.
All that to say, it's probably a different character entirely, but that's a good lesson on Trays in the Infinite.
Maybe.
But yeah, that
appreciate
One
you've got
Necron
a
that just has a
program copy.
specific fetish for chopping off arms.
It's just one random flayed one.
Could very
Yeah,
well
it's like
be.
some random lord. I can't remember which one it was, but one just it might have been Imhotep.
Oh, maybe. The Stormlord? Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it might have been a Stormlord. Whichever one of those guys is known for being a melee
Siri,
boss.
who stole Hellbrick's arm?
Yeah.
but that is cool that they like are directly referencing that he's got a fucking bionic
Sure.
arm.
Yeah, exactly. Because none of his other models have ever had that bionic arm. It was post his whatever year that was, third ed and fourth ed model.
That is cool, and they keep things consistent like that.
It's neat because that's one of those things you don't expect them to remember, considering how many other things they get wrong. So
Fair.
It was Imhotep the Stormlord. God, I went on that whole fucking thing
well,
for nothing.
yeah, I was right. It was Imhotep. Hey,
that's okay. I mean, I haven't fucked up yet, but I mean, knock on wood, it's gonna happen. Everybody gets one.
Through the power of editing, Jake will never fuck up.
That is demonstrably false.
True.
But what about you, Eric? What was your pick of the week this week?
Yeah, so I am very vocal on my distaste for object source lighting. I have been on a one-man crusade against it for a very long time. I can probably count on one hand the number of times that I've seen it pulled off really well. I think there's a lot of people who just go, yeah, I'm just gonna, splash my airbrush over and just saturate the fuck out of some bright color here, and it'll look like it, and it always looks like shit. But I found on Reddit, on the Warhammer 40,000 subreddit, a guy by the name of needs a shit. Posted his first Chaos Space Marine.
Lawless
And
wasteland.
it looks, the model itself is fine. It looks like something I would paint, which hopefully that's not an insult to that guy. But what he did is he did a lava base and did a little bit of glow effect on the rock that his Marine is standing on. And what he did with it, instead of just saturating it with bright color airbrush, he dry brushed over it, and it's very subtle, but it gets the effect off incredibly well. Because it's a dry brush over, a rock, it doesn't get into the recesses, so there's some natural shadow stuff going on in there. And the rest of the base looks really cool too. He's got some lava bubble effect, but it's a really good OSL effect. Contrasting with another post I saw on there the same day that I honestly can't tell if it's a shit post because it's a before and after of someone OSLing the fuck out of a power sword, and it looks exactly like what I described before. So kudos to needs a shit for less is more all the time, or a lot of the time.
I think I've seen it. I think I agree with you. It was well done. Certainly above my pay grade.
Yeah, and I posted it in the Facebook chat, so presumably you all have seen it already.
Yeah, we'll have it linked in the description. But yeah, it's a good job. it's subtle, which again, as you say, less is more. So yeah, it's well done and well picked. I think. Yeah, so we'll head on to my pick of the week now. So I've picked, let's see, let me open it up here. The Forge Temple Instagram account. I am an Instagram junkie, and that's where I post all the time, so I'm always seeing the stuff that people are doing on there. And this guy is, like, again, setting a pattern here. He's a great, like, converter and sculptor, and is a wizard with green stuff, which is a skill that still eludes me. And he is working on a Slanesh-themed Warlord maniple of, like, heavily converted Warlord Titans for Titanicus that have a bunch of, like, 3D printed Blast Masters and Sonic Shriekers and stuff. They're so fucking good. Like, this first one, the Wailing Queen, he's got... Like, motherfucker has a whole damn city sculpted on the top of the Warlord, including like a little like bathing fountain pavilion out on like a terrace on a tower, like above the Warlord's head. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I've seen this guy. This guy's crazy good.
Yeah, so I specifically linked a picture that has all three of them together in various stages of paint and conversion, but he's done more work since that picture that I linked. But it's good stuff, and I don't think like this is kind of showing the upper limits of the potential that Titanicus models have for modeling and customizing opportunities that I think he's the first one I've seen take well and truly full advantage of that.
Oh yeah, definitely one of the best examples of it.
Yeah, and anything Titanicus, I am well and fully behind.
Yeah,
all I said was that I'm behind him on that. That anything with the cool Titanicus modeling, I'm all for.
Yeah, and play Titanicus.
Yeah, it's a great game system, honestly.
I do need to do that.
Super underappreciated. Like, it's one of those ones that like local stores can't keep the shit in stock because people buy it and then just like go home and play it. Like, you never see anybody playing Titanicus in the store. Like, I think last year those couple games that we played at the store, like those were the first times that the people that work at the store had seen it played.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, much easier and cost-efficient way of owning a Titan maniple. That's also not stupid to paint.
Yeah.
But we'll just roll on into Miss of the Week, I guess. I know we all.
Oh, you mean I don't get to do my hit of the week? Is that
me either?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that
well?
Is that just kind of the way you're doing it now,
yeah,
Mr.
I guess.
Mr. fucking Taskmaster?
Well, I went through everybody that had linked stuff, so maybe if people had linked stuff, I would have remembered to talk about it.
Even though we specifically said earlier, I'm not in a place where I can link it right this
Yeah,
second.
well-
like even though I said that, like
And I was like, I know what I'm going to talk about, and you're like, nah, it's okay. You don't need to talk about it.
That was before the world ended. No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Let's Matt, go ahead. What is your pick of the week?
In that case, my pick of the week, a classic though it may be at this point. I'm generally a loyalist, but messing with these Screamers of Zinch that I had gotten secondhand, plus I had like 6 in box. Like they're just a joy to put together. Like 6 pieces max, easy to shave the mold lines off. Lots of options, but not too many, so they can all look unique, but not at the same time. I'm just pumped for the kit. So hit of the week. These cool Screamer models that are easy to put together and have plenty of variation within them.
Nice.
Do we have a miss separately from the hit section, or what pick of the week? Do we have a miss separately?
I apparently attempted to skip some picks of the week, so we are going back and hitting those. So,
Gotcha.
So Ben, what was your pick of the week this week, bud?
Oh, I don't have one. You can skip me.
Well, that's
No,
fair.
I'm joshing you. No, this is quick. Just like last week when I was talking about a cool Kickstarter. There's a neat little Kickstarter going on. It's got I think about a week left to go as of recording, and today's the 24th. But it's for some sci-fi like bunkers and walls. It's super simple, but what I really like about it is that it's a pay what you want Kickstarter. Like all of the designs are already done. You can take a look through them. They're they'd be really good for just some cheap and easy 3D printable terrain, and like you can buy the whole collection or most of the collection for $1.
So would you say the terrain is cheap and fast?
I would say that the terrain is cheap, but I mean, if you're printing these on FDM, it's still going to take a while. But they'd still be very inexpensive, and they're definitely very serviceable for for a war gamer on a budget.
A baller on a budget.
Yeah, but it's called the Sci-Fi Outpost by Oikos Dizan, and that's Oikos Dizajn. I'm sorry if this person hears me butcher the name, but
So just like the yogurt.
Yeah. Yes. Well. Yes. Exactly. It is. Well, you're right. I was like, what yogurt? Oh yeah. No. It is. It's Oikos Dijon Sci-Fi Outpost, and you can get a whole bunch of 3D printable terrain for all of $1, and you get to support an artist at the same time. So, always a worthwhile venture.
So for all of you English speakers out there, that is yogurt mustard Kickstarter.
Yeah, these companies are really diversifying. You think Yamaha has a lot of things going on.
I don't want this person to hear just me butchering the name and then you just straight disrespecting this poor person.
Well, we're hopefully sending some dollar bills his way, so I'm sure he'll be okay with it.
Yeah, true. Very true.
God.
How much is
your
$1 in the
respect
Oikos
worth?
jar? Every time you fuck up his name, you put $1 in the Oikos jar.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
then
that was mine. We definitely need to, because I know you've been wanting to talk about this fucking miss, because it is so bad. Please tell us.
Am I rolling into mine? Is that?
Oh, hold on. You know what? I think yours should be the capstone. So, Gray, what is your miss?
My miss of the week is it's another announced model. It appears that's becoming a thing for me. The new Killzone set that's coming out with the Sisters of Battle Scouts with auto guns and no armor. It's kind of a weird flex. Like, I think the Scouts thing is kind of like giving them what are the acolytes? I guess it's kind of sort of a dumb thing in the first place, because sticking them against Tau. And but I think the biggest beef I have with it is the auto guns. It's kind of a weird sort of move for them. Like, as a faction, they've been getting models, showing them more and more advanced, and then they just drop a new set of models, and they're less advanced than guardsmen, which is kind of odd.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I hear you. In fairness, I'm only seeing 2 of them that actually have auto pistols. One of them
They
just straight up
all
has a
have options.
motherfucking crossbow.
They all have options for auto guns.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so
The
there
auto
are,
rifle.
and like you're right, that is just a straight like auto crossbow. It is not a condemner bolt gun, or at least it's not a design of condemner bolt gun like what we've seen in the past. But I'm sure that there's gonna be like they've got some sort of weird technology like built into them. But still,
Yeah,
it's just
it's a weird flex.
Fucking-
I follow what you're going on. I think it's cool that there are some that they're throwing in some different options because I have always seen the sisters as being just female space marines, and that's basically it. Like they're still genetically enhanced. They all have they've still got power armor, and they have
Minus
mostly
strength,
the
whole thing.
well, yeah, exactly. They're still less strength, but aside from that, they've still got most of the same weaponry, most of the same technology, and then a couple
Right.
of neat things on themselves. But now that it's in a smaller, the smaller game system of Kill Team, where there's a little bit more granularity, I think it's cool that they're giving them some options that you wouldn't immediately think to see.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just a weird flex, I think, though.
it's
Weird
just
to give
I don't.
them.
Are
Because, like,
there any other examples of like sisters like neophytes?
well, that's the problem is there really haven't been, at least model wise, there haven't been any models for it ever. And it's, I think it's odd. It's odd based on not necessarily that they gave them like neophytes, because I mean, I guess they're expanding the range and they do have like neophytes. I remember that from their lore. That's always been a thing. But like, it's weird for them. Their big thing has always been, the holy trinity of Bolter, Flamer, Melta. And it's like, oh, here's some guys in training. You don't get any of that. Let's give you the gun of chaos cultists. You know what I mean? The gun that
It's the
that
common
recruits.
man's weapon. Like,
Well, yeah, it's like it's the weapon for worlds that are not able to produce las guns. They have auto guns. You know what I mean?
I mean, great. I'm reading this write up on Kill Team Chalnath. These are sanctified autoguns, my friends. Totally different things.
Definitely firing Jesus bullets.
Well, I
they're
mean,
nail guns.
like from Quake, the nail
I mean,
gun.
there
that's
is
pretty
that-
fucking cool.
Crossbows probably firing Jesus nails.
Well,
I mean, if they had the nail gun,
I would just
I
go
would
ahead and
shut
throw
right
out
the
there
fuck
that
up.
message you got earlier is going to be sent to you again.
Well, fucking bring it.
I would absolutely retract everything if those shot nails. Like, done, sold. Those are the best model ever. I'm building an entire army of them. But
I'm just like, if I think it's cool that they're bringing in a new unit that previously did not exist with options that we've not seen, as long as they're not super crazy. And so far we don't know if they're going to be directly translatable to 40k. They may be, we don't know, but still, I don't think, as long as the rules are well written, I don't think it's a bad thing to expand the range in new and interesting ways.
so yeah,
But,
well, I mean, we'll see.
I can see your point though.
Yeah, like here's the, and then you stick them in a box, and like here's sisters with strength 3, I would assume, unless they
Yeah.
are for some reason better. So now they're strength 3, and their shooting weapon is strength 3. So they're extremely, unless they're extremely cheap per model, then I can see them being used.
If they're sanctified, it may mean that they get some sort of bonus, or they react to certain enemies differently.
Yeah, like if they have some special rules that make them better, excellent. But if it's just sanctified because they wanted to put the word sanctified on it, that's
well, because an autogun is what it's strength 3 AP dash. These, I would bet you, are still going to be strength 3, but maybe AP 4. Which I'm sorry,
AP -1, whatever.
It'll be AP -1. I'm betting it will be an AP
Something like that.
value difference more than
That would be
a
cool.
strength difference.
That would be cool. Or if they even if it was situational, like you get the AP bonus or something against chaos,
Yeah, exactly.
like the whole Doom of the Eldar kind of rule.
Matt, when you looked at
That would
that,
be cool.
when you looked at that article, did it give the stats on that?
No, I could tell you about some neural whips and some rail rifles. Sorry,
Which I
Well, I
am
love
just
neural whip.
not.
marksman rail rifles, not just regular rail rifles, gentlemen.
I'm just not at all interested in the Tau.
I mean, I'm with you. I brought up the article and I was trying to help.
Although some of the new Tau have
But
noses, which is
instead,
kind of
they decided
odd.
to talk about neural whips and sniper rifles for Tau. So I mean, like I tried.
Yeah, that's the other half of the miss.
Well,
The Tau have noses. Like 2 of them just have straight up noses, and it's kind of odd.
I'll be honest, I didn't notice that, but now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until someone pointed out to me, and then I couldn't stop seeing it. And I'm like, then why does he have the big Y-shaped nostril, but then like a little nose underneath it?
I mean, it's probably like a skull structure thing. I'm looking at it. I'm not. I don't hate it that bad. Like I feel like it's just maybe. It's just they have a. It's like their job.
Weird modeling.
I mean,
I
it doesn't make
want
me that
to
mad,
see
but that's
the
okay.
Tau.
We all have our own opinions. Yeah, with
Yeah.
that miter hat on the like novitiate superior or whatever she is, like she's ready. She's like, I got this cone hat.
I mean, I'm always down for more cone hats in 40K. I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
Redemptionists in Necromunda, they had some cone hats, but they were also just a little bit clanny. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Cawdor's got you covered in that respect for sure.
also very true. Yes, they do.
All
right.
Who else has got a pick of the week? Because I know Ben wants to end on a strong note here.
I do. I want to hear, because I just think you're going to go off on it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I don't know. I don't know if I have enough.
Guys, hold on. Before Jake steals all thunder, I do have a miss of the week. That's my wife. At one point, she took my our cordless drill into the office to do some work. And today, while I've been working on these secondhand screamers, I've had to pin vise / knife / X-Acto knife these glued in stands so I can magnetize them. So what could have been like 10 minutes worth of work was like an hour and a half. So that's my miss of the week.
Oh.
Won't.
Literally your miss of the week because she's going to divorce you now.
No,
I doubt it.
Well, it's the miss of the week because it goes from MRS to MISS after she leaves him.
That Ben's picking up what I'm laying down.
Miss of the week.
Yeah. So, okay, Jake, I would like to know what your miss of the week is.
Without any further ado.
About that same miss of the week, so go on, Jake.
Yeah, so I think Ben, Eric, and I all collectively have the same miss of the week this week, which is fair because it's a.
I'll be honest. I wish
miss.
you hadn't shown me. Like, I wish that I had been able to live the rest of my life fucking blissfully.
I wish
unaware.
I could go back in time and be the person I was before I was shown this.
I can't go back.
You know, and I almost missed it, and then somebody screen capped it to talk about the fucking trait that they were talking about, and I just happened to glance, and I was like, oh no. So, for anyone that may or may not have caught this, we're doing heavily Titanicus themed hits and misses this week. Warhammer community put up an article today about the new Traitor Legios book coming out, because they had the Loyalist Legios book come out maybe a few months back, and so now the traitors are getting their time in the sunshine.
Which is my secondary pick of the week, by the way, because I have 3 Titan Legios and they're all traitors. So.
Yep. So alongside the Iconoclast War Master Titan, which is the beat stick melee War Master Titan version, apparently. They were going through and talking through some of the rules and upgrades and stuff that are going to be generic to the Traitor Legios. And I caught this little tidbit of Warhammer community unironically using the term banger to refer to one of the rules in the new book. Specifically, the phrase reads, "The awakened entity table includes this banger, which is perfect if you like to leap into the thick of the fighting, no matter the cost." So we have truly come to a time when Warhammer community is unironically using meme slang in their fucking articles.
And
And
that's something that they've been kind of guilty of for a while now and has bugged me for a while now. And I know that Warhammer has never been a franchise that is meant to be taken seriously or takes itself seriously. But, you know, when you have things like describing Argel Tall as the guy who really changed on his gap year, it just doesn't sit right with me.
I don't like that the
Why
new
Duncan
war
Quinn?
rule book comes out and says in the 41st millennia there is only war AF. Like, that made me mad.
I mean, we're at this point we're one step away from them saying the new Iconoclast Titan slaps, literally.
It did say
Slap,
that.
no cap.
What? No, please tell me it didn't actually say it slaps.
I think it might have, but that
Oh
might
my
have been a thing that Jake has already said that I'm getting confused with.
No, that's a joke I already made, so I'm just recycling old
okay.
material. So
Ugh.
you're forgiven for that because it's my sin to bear.
I just-
I'm just, they're trying to get in tune with the new Gen Z guys. Just wait. They're gonna
Fucking
release
guess so.
another model and be like, this model slaps, no cap. And they'll have to
Slaps,
flip the
no
whole body.
cap. You know, the new Space Marines that have launchable melta-bombs are just gonna yeet some hate at the enemies.
these
Or do you want to
dreadnoughts,
grease your opponent right off the table?
these dreadnoughts don't hashtag YOLO.
God
Oh,
damn it!
man.
Like, just I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the Warhammer community and the rest of the company just like exist on completely different planes. Like, it's just
I know the community guy. I need to have a conversation with him. Because I'm just not pleased about this at all.
now. See, if they had pivoted into like some weird British humor and made some kind of like bangers and mash joke, then maybe that would have been acceptable. But no, they
Would
just
it
dropped
have?
bang. You know what? I don't know, man. The trait in question
Well,
that they
they
were
would've-
talking about is called blood hungry. So maybe talking about like I don't
Black
know.
sausage or something.
Yeah, I don't fucking. Dude. I'm
There's-
trying
like,
to
like-
give him the out, Ben.
No, stop trying to defend the indefensible. Sometimes the defendant is guilty. You know this.
Sometimes
Look,
that
it's like,
motherfucker's guilty.
If they were going for that, like, it was an easy out. Like, this banger can really make a mash out of your enemies.
Okay, but even so, like, the only connection to that joke is the fact that GW is a British company. It still doesn't really fit.
So
It's just
yeah,
bad. It's cringe.
it's a piece of shit, and I don't like it.
Warhammer community is posting cringe on the internet.
No cap.
Argel Talk podcast yells at Cloud.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm just picturing like
On the flip,
like
are
an
we
old,
just
like,
getting old and crotchety? Is that part of it, maybe?
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's the children who are wrong.
Ah,
I'm just picturing like Winston Churchill like rolling into like a high school like, "Hey, fellow kids," with his backwards hat, his British accent with a cigar.
I mean,
See,
to
I-
be fair,
Hello,
Winston
fellow
Churchill
youth. I,
would
too,
fit in
quite
a
young.
nursery.
See, I went a different direction with that. I thought of Winston Churchill like giving a speech of, "We will slap them on the beaches. We will yeet them in on the streets."
We will win at all costs. No cap. The RIF bussin'.
we will win at all costs. GG no re.
They said that
Slap
we
them
cannot defeat them. Bet.
We will grief them on the streets. We will grief them on the beaches. We will grief them in our homes.
God, it's just
Everything you
It's
have
just-
to fear.
No,
It's
God,
getting
guys,
yeeted out of the
we have to
chest.
stop. We have to stop in the off chance that they hear us and they take pointers. We've got to stop.
just giving them ideas at this point.
It's like, damn, these guys are just like giving us free advertising.
Oh, This is a motherfucking gold mine, boys.
Hey man, that's how we get that free what is it? That
A free cease
exclusive
and
pre-release
desist.
shit. Free cease and desist. Perfect.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You watch, we earn some kind of accolade to the point where Games Workshop wants to send us free shit, and then you just send Gray a bunch of boxes of those fucking Scout Sisters with auto guns. Like, honestly, if they trolled us that hard, like, if they just picked our misses of the week and just sent that to us, then, like, they'd earn some respect from me.
So my miss of the week
I would
then
definitely-
is the Forge World Bars Pattern Warlord Titan.
Yeah, exactly. I was just
It's
about to say
big
that,
and
like,
dumb and stupid, and it takes too long to paint.
My miss of the week is a fully painted Ultramarines army ready to go for Heresy. I'm good to go.
My miss of the week is the Sokar pattern Stormbird. Because that fucking thing is ugly. Don't send me one under any circumstances.
You can't even fit a whole ass fleshlight in the cockpit.
You
I
can't-
don't.
Why have a jet if you can't fuck it first?
I thought I was the Emperor's Children player here.
It's my
Yeah.
hobby. I'm gonna enjoy it the way that I want to.
Oh, shit.
God. All right. Has anybody else got a miss of the week?
We have got to stop this.
Have we reached the bottom of the salt mine at this point?
Yes.
Is the canary fully well and truly died at this point now?
I think if we go on any longer, it's going to be Outer Circle sending us a cease and desist.
I was gonna say we physically said before this that we weren't gonna be salty, and now look at us.
I would like to state for the record that I never said I would not be salty at any point.
I don't think that I said that either. In fairness.
We said we didn't
It's
want to
your-
get too salty.
It's your damn revisionist history out of our podcast.
Well, speaking of revisionist history, you know what else starts with R? Is
Recon Marines?
exactly, Ben. That's forced fucking. Okay.
Yeah,
This week-
Jake, you expect a bill from my doctor for the whiplash you just gave me.
That
well,
transition better be in the final cut.
Oh, absolute. It's gold, man. I'm not gonna waste this. So this week, our main topic is we're going to be talking about Legion Reconnaissance Squads and kind of why, possible uses for them. We have to be hipsters over here, meta breakers and doing shit that nobody else does, just in spite of the fact that it might actually be terrible.
I gotta say, they're a banger of a unit.
A real banger of a... All right, no. Stop it. You stop that right now. I will turn this cast around, so help me.
I had no expectations, and I'm still underwhelmed.
Oh, jeez.
So
anyways.
I'm gonna run us to the Recon Squad real quick for those of you who may not have ever even looked at them, because why would you? So at 100 points, got 5 Marines, standard Marine stat line. Come with bolters, shroud bombs, and power armor. Special rules: they've got scout, outflank, acute senses, and they are a support squad. Troops choice, so they cannot be your compulsory choices. Dedicated transport, it can take a Rhino or, interestingly, a Storm Eagle gunship, so that's a neat little note to make there. Pretty standard types of equipment and loadout options for them, as far as, melt bombs, Sergeant can do Sergeant things. Main point of choice on these guys is the option to take either power armor or recon armor, which recon armor is a free exchange for the power armor. Worsens their save to 4 up, but they gain the infiltrate and move through cover special rules. It can take bolters, chainswords and pistols, shotguns, or sniper rifles. And the sergeant can take artificer armor and still maintains infiltrate and move through cover if he does so. So that's a
He
cool
can
little
also
thing
take
to know.
power weapons, I think, too, can't he?
Ah,
Yes, standard or
Yep,
the
he can
Sergeant.
take that power lance.
yes, Power Lance Recon Sergeant. If you want to be the hipster of your gaming group.
I mean, you actually
Chad
want to be
with
illegal
Recons.
because the only options are power. Oh, I guess power weapons are power lances. Oh,
Yep, they
geez.
are. If you had listened
sure
to
thought-
our last episode, you'd know what the fuck you were talking about
If
right
only
now.
I wasn't hanging out in Disneyland giving Walt all
Look,
my money.
I know how long those lines are. You had time.
Ooh, except the lines were not long because it's the first week back in school in the Rona.
But can also take Camellia Line, which is, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that confers stealth, so they can have pretty significant cover saves. So obviously the fact that they're a support squad kind of hurts them. They can't be your compulsory troops choices. But I know we've been kind of doing some brainstorming this week, coming up with different ways of using recon squads. Who wants to take crack at that first?
Yeah, so I'll go first. So one of the standout pieces of war gear is not only the recon armor, which is really what makes them stand out from normal tactical marines, but also the fact that you can take Nuncio Voxes, which is pretty decent. So Nuncio Vox basically allows you to have a 6-inch radius bubble of no scatter deep strike, as well as allowing you to draw line of sight for barrage weapons from the Nuncio Vox. So if you have an artillery tank or something else with barrage tucked away behind a building or a ruin, completely out of line of sight, you can fire it with barrage and not suffer the penalty from barrage for not having line of sight. So what you would do, you can do with these guys is you give them recon armor, you infiltrate them into a ruin. And interestingly enough, they have both infiltrate from the recon armor and scout natively. So you can, even if you get them 18 inches away, you can still scout redeploy them after the infiltrate and be 12 inches away from something, and then deep strike things 6 inches. And also, if you take the Camellia line and the Nuncio Vox, that bare bones unit of 5 guys is 135 points, and you can go to ground for basically a 5 up in the open, and in any terrain you're getting a 3+. And if that's all you're doing is giving line of sight to artillery or giving a spot for deep strike to get in, then those guys don't need to shoot, and they're going to be really hard to shift, especially with shroud bombs, forcing a leadership check if you try and charge them.
Yeah,
So
and
basically, you can have your guys hang out there, and then if you have any sort of turn 1 deep strike, or even if you have turn 2 deep strikes, Terminators, Assault Marines, you can get them directly where you need them to be.
yeah. So I was going to draw the comparison between Damocles Command Rhino, because I know that's another popular choice for getting more reliable deep strike bubbles. Now, obviously, the Recon Marines are a little smaller range than that, but they're also still Marines. They're still scoring. They can still hold objectives, move around, do stuff. So
And they're going to be harder to draw a beat on because they're hiding in cover with a 3-up cover save or whatever.
Right, and they might have a smaller bubble than the Damocles, but they're probably going to be a lot closer to where you want your deep strike than the Damocles is.
true, and it's also not. They're also not taking up an HQ slot.
No, they're not.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you fill up every single one of your troops choices and you're not playing Dark Angel Stormwing, then send me an email because I would like to play our infantry list together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so who's next for a cool use for Recon Marines?
So I'll go. I got real used to running a couple of different loadouts of Gray Slayers with outflank in my Space Wolf army. That's just a rule that I can give them in certain rights of war. But reconnaissance squads, they come bog standard with outflank and acute senses. So outflank will allow you to keep the unit in reserve, and when they come in, they don't have to come onto the board from your table edge. You can choose to outflank them, and basically it's a dice roll where you choose on a 1 or 2 they come in on the left side, 3 or 4 they come in on the right side, and on a 5 or 6 they can come in from any side, including your opponent's table edge. Acute senses lets you re-roll that. So you have a lot of versatility of where you actually want to put that squad. And while the base reconnaissance squad doesn't have a lot of different weapon options that are terrifying, you can make a really good threat that can give you some versatility on the battleground. What I would probably do with them, the dropping them to or giving them the recon armor versus the power armor, it's kind of a mixed bag. If you're going to outflank them, because you're not guaranteed to have cover, and at that point you probably wouldn't want to rely on going to ground. But what I would probably do is give them the Camellia line, give them shotguns, or give a couple of them shotguns and a couple of them chainswords and or combat blades, so that they get the extra attack, and then give everyone melt-a-bombs. And then, because it's only 5 points per model, and you can give it to the entire squad. So when these guys come in, you will be able to roll for them to come in from reserves. You will have a good chance of getting them to come on the table edge that you want them to come in on, and then they are definitely a threat to basically anything armor. And most players are going to be playing with some sort of armor, at least once you get past 1,500 points. If you're playing Centurion, maybe not, but you have this unit that's going to be able to come in a lot of different spots on the battlefield, and can potentially book it to an objective, or can just provide harassment from the backfield, while still being a reasonable threat in close combat. If you give them combat blades, the shotguns are Assault 2, 18-inch range, with the strength of a bolter. So I actually think that they're probably a better choice than keeping them bog standard with the bolter. The shroud bombs are going to keep them at least somewhat protected from a charge if there are enemy units that could come to try to intercept. So it'll give you the opportunity to kind of choose how you want to attack. You can give your sergeant a combi melta or something, so that they're a threat to vehicles when you come in. Like, I've used them with my in my salamanders list, and the Rite of War that I had mastercrafted the combi melta. So I was able to bring them in from the edge. Now, mind you, I also put them in a rhino that had a multi-melta on it, which also was mastercrafted. So I was able to outflank with the rhino, bring it in 6 inches, and fire the mastercrafted and the combi melta at it was some backfilled Medusas. It was a squad of Medusas, and I was able to take one out just from that unit. And now I've got a vehicle with, at the time I kept 10 dudes in the squad. So I've got a 10-man unit that's now in the opponent's backfield, harassing his artillery that can't shoot at them for fear of destroying themselves. Actually, there may have been a minimum distance that they could fire anyway, so whatever. They can't fire at the guys that are there, and they're going to cause problems. The same thing goes with the Storm Eagle. Like, if you wanted to outflank, you could just fly in off of that edge. So you have a ton of versatility with that setup. The Storm Eagle is usually not or at least in my experience, not the preferred vehicle or flyer. Like most people like the Fire Raptor because it just brings a shitload of firepower. But the Storm Eagle is no slouch, and it can put some reasonably powerful templates onto infantry. And having one that can just fly in from, a back corner and maybe have some rear arc of vehicles with its missiles, like that's super nice.
There's also something to be said for it being a dedicated transport in your troop slot and not
Oh,
taking up a
definitely.
fast attack choice.
The only downside is that you are dedicating a pretty large chunk of points to a support unit that, while it does have some pretty decent offensive output, it's not as strong as some other choices that you could be taking for the points. So I personally, when I would run them, I'd either keep them foot slogging if I wanted them to be more of a a distraction and an opportunist kind of support, or I'd keep them in a Rhino with some extra weapons on it to make it more of an objective holder or an actual threat to things. And then if I was going to keep them on foot, I would probably give them the recon armor in the hopes that I was close enough to terrain, or could keep something in between me and whatever's going to be firing at them, so that I can get a real benefit from stealth.
Yeah, because I mean, then with any intervening models, you're gonna have a 4-up cover save.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have the stealth anyway from the Chameleon. But the move through cover is really where it would help me there.
True.
Being able to get further in if there happens to be a piece of terrain that's real close to the edge.
And also sometimes people, if they have those backfield like artillery or barrage pieces, they might hide them in terrain to try and kind of keep them alive and keep them safer, especially if they're not planning on moving them. So that'll help you get to grips with them with the melta bombs too.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like outflank is when I see it done, I usually see it as like like that is one of the primary focuses of that particular army. Like that's their gimmick. Like a full army of outflanking stuff, or it's going to be a sizable portion of their force. But even having one or two squads being able to come in kind of unpredictably and forcing your opponent to have to keep that in their mind, in my experience, most of the time that they forget that is a thing that can happen, and they leave something, kind of near enough to an edge that now it's in peril, or they end up bunching a bunch of their stuff close into the middle, and it reduces their tactical options. So it can be a good psychological play for not a lot of points. I mean, I think that I can't access my battle scribe right now, but the unit that I built was less than 200 points for a really reasonable harassment squad or in a Rhino that would be reasonably defensible and be an immediate threat to a lot of different types of units.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had looked at it a different way, which is definitely not as points efficient necessarily as some of the other builds you guys are talking about. So it's not as points inefficient as the Storm Eagle. But the way I looked at them was you get the whole unit out, give them the Chameleon Lean, give them the Recon armor, and you give them sniper rifles, and then you put a Master of Signals in the unit to increase their ballistic skill.
Yeah,
and then
So
just,
all about them precision shots.
Yep, just maxed out the precision shots, and I mean that's one of the main complaints of sniper rifle units in many of the games is that it's like, okay, you have this precision shot unit, but they're not really hitting any more often than a bolter unit would hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get to abuse it. So putting it in, putting a Master Signals in there, which I mean, you get a Master Signal in there, bare bones, 95 points. Which really, I mean, he can't take a lot of the same war gear as your other consoles. He's not a good melee guy. And you don't really want him shooting, because if he's shooting, he's not giving ballistic skill buffs. So you just run him bare bones, 95 points. Here's your Master Signals attached to the squad. And you just stick him in the terrain piece of your choice when you infiltrate and scout at the table to start the game, and then harass
Mhm.
anything with a character in it the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Does he come? I've never used the Master Signals personally. Does he come with stealth? I mean, the unit stealth would confer to him, but does he come with stealth or shrouded, or can he get it?
No, he's got. Yeah, he has like nothing on him as far as. So his special rules that he comes with is he's got the he can convert ballistic skill if he doesn't shoot, and then once per game he can drop an orbital bombardment, kind of like the old 7th Ed and earlier chapter masters could in 40k. So he gets a
Mhm.
one-off orbital bombardment, and that's all he gets, like standard. Other
Well, I
than
mean,
that,
that's
he's...
Comes with
still pretty
a Nuncio
reasonable.
Vox as well.
Oh yes, he does have a Nuncio box. I forgot about that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I think in one of the legions, I can't remember which one, but I think in one of the legions, if we're talking about Master Signals, he can take a Damocles Command Rhino as a transport. I think Ultramarines can do it, so you could run a 5-man squad and then run that Damocles with them, and then move it up the table, and then having them picking their targets and getting that juicy ballistic skill 5.
The only issue I'd see with that is that the Damocles, you can only fire 2 of them out at a time.
Yeah.
If I was gonna, because I have a starter Ultramarine army. Like, if I was gonna run snipers, I'd actually really want to run them Ultramarines. I think that would be one
Me
of
too.
the. I think that would be one of the best legions.
Or interlocking tactics.
Exactly, where they can get those rerolls. I think that would be about the best way to utilize. I think it's rerolls. I don't think it's just a bonus. I can look at it real quick.
The
Um,
interlocking tactics is if a
they
unit
may re-roll rolls of 1 to wound.
onto wound. Yes.
Yeah, so they getting that extra opportunity to wound something, especially if you do get that precision shot, like that would be
Opportunity to
fantastic.
get that rending for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anything that makes a weapon more reliable is a-okay in my book, even if it is Ultramarines. But yeah, that I think that's a good way to run them, Gray.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, for my upcoming Ultramarines little force, that was one of the things I was considering, was adding a squad in and doing that.
Since you brought up that Master of Signals, because the Nuncio Vox is that's only a 10-point upgrade for the unit. Now another thing you could do is, if you were going to outflank them, like give them the Nuncio Vox and play super defensively with them.
Right.
Around a turn, and then the next turn use them as your deep strike anchor for other units, assuming that you weren't able to get them in the previous turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like
That could really work too.
between that and what Eric was talking about with the recon and like the recon armor and the infiltrate, I think it's pretty easy to get a reliable deep strike bubble in with your recon squads. The only problem there being that you kind of can't dictate what order reserves are going to come in on.
Yeah, it's unless you have a a command tower or something. Or there are ways that you can play around with your reserve rolls, but they're not something that you can just dictate. It's not a choice. It's still going to be dictated by a dice roll.
Mm-hmm.
But for a 10-point upgrade per unit, it's a fairly benign upgrade that could give you a lot of versatility, or should things or your dice rolls for reserve go a certain way.
Mm-hmm. And so if we want to kind of pivot into, I mean, unless anybody else has different uses for Recon Marines that they want to talk about, we can kind of...
I can throw in a bit on like their use as kind of objective holders, more related to I'm a Custodius player as well, so what I don't have is cheap objective secured, so I have a lot of options there. And so whereas a normal Legion may not look at it, I definitely would consider them as an option. Just to talk about them a little bit. I mean, we've kind of already covered the the points. Like you can get this allied detachment with squad of Marines, Recon Squad, and even like the a Centurion. And for like 125 points, in my Custodian's army, I'll normally use Sisters of Silence with bolt guns as like my objective holders, and almost always bring Jenny because why wouldn't you? But if you want to play, not messing with special characters or anything, she confers to her Sisters of Silence units either stealth, infiltrate, and there's like one or two other things. I usually give them stealth, but if I wanted to leave the sisters at home, I would definitely consider bringing these guys as an allied detachment. So Recon Marines that can scout for that reliable deep strike from the Nuncio box. A second reliable deep strike. Actually, he can't do that because consoles can't do that. Or maybe even like consoles on a bike or something, just because you have that compulsory HQ choice. And you could even run them up behind a squad of like Soren board Custodes because they confer a +1 to saves for units behind them. So no matter how you kind of look at it, if you're putting them, infiltrating them, you got easy 2-up cover saves with In Ruins, Camellia Line, Go to Ground, and then you have that deep strike bubble there. Or you can just run them up behind your Custodian Sword and Board for out in the open. They'd have I think a 3-up in cover save with Camellia Line. So just like having like a fire support squad. And again, this would be like if I wouldn't bring like sisters and an allied Legion detachment. I'd bring like one or the other. Again, because I haven't picked a Space Marine Legion yet. I really wish there was an option 30K to like pick the Legion you want and maybe change up from time to time, but. Guess we have to go a few years in the future for that to happen.
No, you can do that. You just have to buy make more models, which is not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if you saw my stack of plastic, it may be a problem.
So one thing I'll jump in as far as talking about objective holders. You note that you don't need to take the recon armor in order to take Camellia Line. So they'll still have scout regardless of what armor type they have. So if what you want is survivability and you have an objective that's maybe in your deployment zone or very close to it, then you can still give them power armor, scout deploy up to the objective if you need to, and even if you have something that ignores cover and isn't AP3, then you'll still have a 3-up save.
Yep, but I think since you won't be able to you won't know what you're doing until after you've made the list, and when you get to the game, I think that if objective holding is going to be your objective with them, giving them the recon armor so that they gain infiltrate, so they have a bit more options when it comes to where they're going to land on the table, would be better. If there's something that's going to be reasonably outside of your deployment zone and outside of the distance of a scout move, you can put them right there as long as they're outside of 18 inches of a enemy model, and then they are you just keep them cheap with their regular weapons at that point, and that they're just going to go to ground and try to soak up absolutely as much firepower as possible.
Well, if you're feeling really froggy, you can just take 2 squads, have 1 power armor, 1 recon armor, and cover all your bases.
That's true. You could absolutely still fit both of those into most lists because they'd be running pretty cheap, especially if you kept them.
Yeah, and I was kind of speaking specifically like using them in my Custodian's army because I do deep strike easily 2 to 3 units every game, and essentially at that point they're a distraction card effects, right? Because if they know I'm gonna have a Nuncio box there, like they know that I'm gonna have a reliable Golden Boy deep strike within 6 inches of us. So either they throw an inordinate amount of firepower to get rid of them, or they take the chance. And either way, I'm kind of giving them choices. So I definitely, from my side, I think I definitely want them to have that infiltrate, and of course they're going to infiltrate into cover. But that was just again speaking from my personal decision. They're not necessarily all the good ways to do it.
Definitely not a bad way to do it.
Yeah, it's options.
But yeah,
I always appreciate ally bringing. I don't think people do enough of it in Heresy.
Well, that is true. It's just a lot of armies really require a certain amount of units to really take advantage of their rights of war, and most people like really rely on their rights of war to carry their strategy.
And
Yeah, and
many
there's also
rights
a
of
lot of rights
war.
that forbid allies entirely.
Yeah,
That is,
exactly.
or make it so limited in what you have to take in order to get the benefits that you end up having to buy extra units to make it work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's all.
So what are rights of war anyways, guys? Because me hanging out in the palace, shining my armor and my bolter halberds. I don't really know what those are. Are there
They
are there any rights
are
of war that can make use out of these Recon Marines?
all of them. Thank you.
Are there some that are better at it?
Yes.
All right, and that's been the cast. Thanks, you guys.
All right, yes. So there's a few Legion-specific rights of war that I don't think they're necessarily, make really good use of them, but they definitely make some. They might make them a little bit better. For instance, the Imperial Fists Hammerfall Strike Force, which is definitely not taken anywhere near as often as Stone Gauntlet. But one of the benefits of that particular rite of war is that you can give any infantry unit teleport transponders, which lets them deep strike at 15 points per squad and 10 points for independent characters. So you have your even your basic tactical squads or some Terminators, anything like that, and then you run those you infiltrate those Recon Marines, and everything in your army can get real close to the enemy real quick without worrying about scattering too much.
Through that. I'll follow that up with I think that the Ultramarines Rite of War, the Logos Lectora, would actually benefit them pretty well, depending on how you load them out. You get the benefit of you get an effect that you get. Let me reread this. So only one effect is used at a time for the entire detachment. The controlling player determines which effect applies at the beginning of each of their turns. So this, sticking with the Ultramarines, like, their shtick of just having an answer for every sort of situation. You get to choose one of these effects at the beginning of your turn, where any affected or any of your Astartes units can re-roll run distances, or they could, if they remain stationary, they make snapshots at BS2, or they can gain counterattack as a special rule. So if you're going to, like, if you do what I said, where you're going to outflank them, if you have a plan for what you're going to be using them for, being able to re-roll a run distance, when you outflank, assuming you're not going to try to shoot something, I think is very very beneficial. Or being able to give them counterattack, if you're expecting that your opponent's gonna try to come take care of them quickly, making them a little bit more of a threat, I think is good, especially considering that one of the limitations of that rite of war is that you cannot deploy infiltrators or interplay via deep strike. So it's a fairly limited rite of war in terms of where you can get your units to actually uh, show up on the battlefield. And then just real quick, I'm gonna scroll to it real quick. Where are you? The one that I was using for the salamanders, I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head because my brain am bad. The Covenant of Fire basically makes it gives everyone um, it gives all melta-guns and inferno pistols mastercrafted. So if you give a combi melta on the sergeant and put a multi melta on the rhino and outflank them, they become very deadly to vehicles that are close to the edge or in the backfield. And then all of your units gain move through cover, so you wouldn't have to give them the recon armor to gain that benefit. And Salamanders are already a fairly slow legion because they get negatives to their run speeds and charges. So having that is super nice.
Well, I got another one. If you're a writer for Warhammer Community and are therefore a total meme lord, you can take the Death Guard Creeping Death Rite of War, which one of the bonuses for that one is that infantry models gain a cover save of 5+ in open ground as long as there's nothing within 12 inches, any enemies within 12 inches. So you take you just put your guys, infiltrate them in the open if you want, go to ground, and you're getting all of the cover saves just standing there.
Yeah, you're just putting a target out there to soak up firepower that could be going somewhere else.
Another Legion specific one, if you were to play World Eaters using the Crimson Path, which I don't know that I've ever seen used, and I've only used once. You get feel no pain when you're in the enemy's deployment zone. Well, guess what? You can infiltrate. You can infiltrate chain axes up into near your enemy's deployment zone.
But yeah,
There
you
you go.
can't ignore those at that point. Like you have to do something with them.
Absolutely. Another one that I thought of, Legion specific, is the Day of Revelation for Blood Angels. It requires your compulsory troops choices and your compulsory HQ to have jump packs. And all of your jump units automatically deep strike turn 1 without needing to roll for reserves. So you have some infiltrating scout squads with Nuncio Voxes placed at convenient infiltrated and scouted positions around the table, and you get a reliable 6-inch bubble of deep strike for your assault squads, Angels Tears, Dawnbreakers, etc. And it can be super nasty to be able to put those squads exactly where you want them, because I think that's one of the big risk-reward factors of that Rite of War is you have to deep strike everything, and everybody knows that deep strike can go horribly, horribly wrong. So getting more reliable deep strikes in for, kind of mitigating the riskiest part of that to then get all the benefits and rewards out of it sounds like a win in my book.
So I got another one real quick with the Space Wolves. The Bloodied Claws Rite of War, they don't get one of the they would not get one of the nicest benefits of the Rite of War, which is Furious Charge. But they would get the ability. They have a special rule where all units in the army add a bonus of 1 to combat resolutions when they're in the enemy's deployment zone. So, and you get innate bonuses to to close combat. With you get counterattack, and you get a bonus to your weapon skill when you charge. So having a close combat unit set up in the backfield is really nice for a Space Wolf army, and the fact that you're getting a +1 combat resolution if you're in the enemy's deployment zone just means that you're even more likely to win and be able to overtake or a sweeping advance a enemy unit. So there's a couple of ways that I think that you could do that in a Space Wolves army, because they don't get outflanked just innately.
They'd be pretty good in a Raven Guard decapitation strike Rite of War, I feel like. Because they're going to get preferred enemy as part of the Rite of War. And
Yeah.
I think, but I'm not sure, I'm still looking at it, I thought that they can take drop pods, but maybe they can't. Let's see. No, they can't take drop pods, but they're kind of cool for sneaking in some heavy weapons if you take them with the Storm Eagles. Since with Raven Guard, the decapitation strike, you can only take 1 heavy support choice in there, so they can both shore up.
Anyway.
But yeah, but you have those heavy weapons built into it, which
and get more meltas and missiles and whatever else. Yeah.
meltas, exactly. It's free. It's getting the heavy weapons in there without taking up a slot necessarily.
Well, I think
Plus, preferred enemy with sniper rifles is pretty freaking good. So
Well, since we've touched on it a couple times, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of go over what the Storm Eagle actually brings to the table. I mean, everyone knows what a Rhino can do if you're playing the game, but the Storm Eagle is not an exceptionally heavily used vehicle. But being able to take it as a dedicated transport is pretty sweet. But it does come at a bit of a price. So it has the capacity to carry 20 models. You For a base of 210 points, it's a 12 12 12 flyer with 4 hull points and bog standard 4 ballistic skill. And it comes standard with a hull mounted twin linked heavy bolter, a hull mounted vengeance launcher, 4 Tempest rockets, and comes with the machine spirit, so it can fire extra weapons at full ballistic skill and at different targets. And it's an assault vehicle, so this thing can go to hover, and your recon dudes can charge out of it. So if you're a close combat oriented army or just want that versatility, that would be a good use for them too. But you can upgrade the Storm Eagle's twin link heavy bolter to twin multi meltas or a single missile launcher if you wanted to. Though I have never seen anyone take that option. Excuse me. You can exchange the Tempest rockets for Hellstrike missiles, which I do see, and I've seen where they change the 4 Tempest rockets for 2 sets of twin linked las cannons. Though that will set you back an extra 40 points. The one thing that I do not understand about the damn Storm Eagle is that the searchlight is an added option, unless they've FAQ'd that and I've just not seen it. But
And for 1 point, no less.
For 1 point.
I mean, it's basically an auto include at that point, right?
No, not at all. Like, I wouldn't take it. I would never take it ever.
Especially not in Raven Guard, because I think everything gets Emperor visors built in with Raven Guard. So who cares?
Yeah, and like Night Lords had night vision base.
Yeah. Speaking of Night Lords, can't they take teleport transponders?
They can take them on independent characters and Terminators, yes.
So there's another use for recons, and Night Lords gives you another deep strike anchor for those guys.
Yeah, in fact, the Nuncio Vox is a thing that I plan on using on veterans rather than recon squads, but yeah.
Deep strike and the Conticors, I think that's how you pronounce it. The special Terminators, deep strike.
I don't know. I'm not using them.
I feel like they can buy transponders as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they can. If they don't come with them base, I'm sure they can buy them.
But it's an interesting point you made, Ben, about the Storm Eagle being an assault vehicle. Because I mean, at that point, you're basically, I mean, if you load your Recon Marines out the right way, for all intents and purposes, they have now just become a unit of despoilers that just gave your Storm Eagle as a dedicated transport outflank and acute senses, so you can put them exactly where you want them.
And they're reasonably, unless your opponent has a dedicated like anti-air. So like I'm thinking a Mortis Pattern Contemptor or a Deredeo, of course, or other flyers. Like they get a reasonable amount of defense that first turn that they come in. You can kit out the Recon Marines with. At that point, I would keep them in power armor. Like there's no reason to give them the Camellia. There's no reason to give them the Camellia line or the Recon armor. Give them swap the bolter out for the close combat weapon. Give them multi-bombs, and so that'd be a 250 point squad plus a 210 point vehicle. So you're putting a reasonable amount of points into this unit, but I don't think a lot of people would have great defense against it. Like I feel like more often than not, they're going to be able to make a charge off.
Right.
The only thing that I think about as far as having trying to assault out of a Storm Eagle is that it's at best a turn 3 charge, which granted is better than you can get for a lot of guys on foot. But that is something that you're at the mercy of reserve rolls and then having to go into hover and get out and all that. You can get them pretty much wherever you want though, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not something that I would take at 1,500 points, but at the 2,000 and the 2,500 point mark, I'd very much think about taking them. And that first turn that they come in, if you see, I would probably go ahead and spend the extra 40 points and put the 2 twin las cannons on there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the multi-melta, because with machine spirit, like I'm going to be able to fire at least the 2 las cannons, if not more, because it's fast too. So I'm going to be able to fire a lot of those weapons. I'm probably going to do a reasonable amount of damage on the turn that it comes in. And your point is well taken, that it's at the very least a turn 3 charge, but having a fairly well protected close combat unit that can come in and do cause problems on turn 3 or 4.
I mean, pretty reliably get into your opponent's backfield too. Like, because the added benefit that the combat Recon Marines have against the spoilers is, as we've mentioned, they all now have melta bombs. So you're basically taking an assault squad minus the jump packs.
Yeah, and they're coming in on a dangerous gun platform that's going to be able to do some work at least for one turn before it can take any sort of real counter fire and potentially force it to jink. So and if you've got jink, you've got a reasonable amount of survivability. It's a 12-12-12 chassis. It's not like the normal where the rear armor is 10 or 11. And you've got machine spirit, so even if you jink, you'll still at least be able to fire one of those weapons off. So
and also 4 hull points, which is not something to discount.
Yeah. So
I think
it is a good chassis. It's just not a particularly favored one, since the Fire Raptor is just, subjectively a much cooler model, and people like gunboats.
Yeah, and if you're going to go through the effort of
really like Fire Raptors, I've heard.
It's true.
Yeah, there is a guy in the local community who likes to take 2 Fire Raptors at 750 points. What's weird about this guy is that one of the other guys in our local community has a tattoo of him, like in a tramp stamp location, wearing a Judge Dredd helmet, and it's just off-putting.
It's just this really weird cult of personality we've got going on here. First it's Fire Raptors, and then it's tramp stamps, and not really sure what choices led them to this point, but
there's no way to describe the series of events.
A long life of trucking.
God.
So thinking of this from a doesn't have a Legion yet point of view, 600 points of allies could reasonably get you that, because you need your other compulsory Marines, because the Recon can't be the compulsory. So like an allied detachment would be Recon, standard Homeboy Marine Squad, Centurion, and then the Fire Raptor, right? So like 600 points probably, if I'm doing my brain math pretty well.
Well, you wouldn't do the Fire Raptor; it'd be the Storm Eagle.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
That would be tough, because I don't think that's even possible. Unless you could if you kept the Recon Marines at 5-man, but if you're going to dedicate us that many points to bringing in the Storm Eagle, you're either going to keep them as bare bones as possible, just so that you have another unit of dudes that could potentially do something, but you don't really have a plan for them. At that point, you're really just taking the Storm Eagle. Like that's your primary goal, is to have a Storm Eagle that's not taking up Force Org, or you're doing like what I said earlier, and you're kitting them out to be more dangerous in close combat or with melta bombs, so that they can be a real reliable threat against something big. Like I wouldn't put a throwaway unit into a 250 point transport.
No, no. I mean, I'm thinking like to actually like kit them out, it'd probably be around 600 for that detachment, right? Because the storm
Probably close to
raptor
7.
eagle.
No, because
just
that-
start naming birds of prey. You'll get there
I'm kidding.
eventually.
At some point.
yeah, the Omega Ostrich
I mean,
is
Stormhawk is apparently a thing.
yeah. The Sokar pattern bitch ostrich. Because if you kit out the Recon Squad, you max them out with 10 guys, you're at 200 points, and then if you give them all melta-bombs, you're at 250. Add in the base Storm Eagle, and you're at 460. 500 if you put the twin las cannons on. Then you've got bare minimum another 100 points to put a baseline tactical squad to get your minimum compulsory troops choices for the Allied, and then you still have to have an HQ. So it'd probably take about 700 to 750 points to kit it out. To really kit it out like that. Because, like I said, otherwise, in order to get it those sub 600 points, you would have to keep the squad down in number to reduce the per marine cost and the melta bomb cost, because you have to take the melta bombs for every model in the unit, and I just don't think it's worth doing it unless you're going to really kit the squad out and max them out size wise. But you could, yeah, but it is feasible. It's just I don't think it's a good choice.
So checking it, doing it at its absolute cheapest, you take a 125-point tactical squad and a 50-point centurion, and then you would sink 490 in the reconnaissance squad to give everybody the chain sword, artificial armor sergeant, and then 2 twin link las cannons and a twin link multi melta on the Storm Eagle, and melta bombs, and that's 665 points.
Oh,
Yeah.
throw on that spotlight.
Right. So, and that's not giving a power weapon or anything special to the sergeant.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
So if you kept everything else completely as cheap as you can, just a throwaway HQ, throwaway tactical squad to anchor it, just to pay the tax. 665 is the cheapest you can do it.
Yeah, because I don't think I would want to do that for an allied squad. But if I was going to put it into the regular squad, I'd probably put some sort of cheap centurion or something in there that would be not a close combat monster, but something that was a little bit more of a threat than a sergeant with a power weapon.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily put a cheap like Delegatus or early Crusade honors or something in there.
Yeah, I think there's some options. I think there's some cool ways that you could do it. I don't know, like I'd have to play around with that, because because that would add another, decent chunk of points into a squad that's already kind of pricey with that with the flyer.
Well, I don't know. Now that we're talking it out,
cool ways. That would be pretty decent to, or that would be kind of cool to be able to do.
The more we talk about this, the more I'm sold on it, about kind of like leaning into it and kind of making this like more of a point sink and maybe a little bit more of a dedicated assault unit. Start putting some characters and an apothecary and stuff in there. I mean, like we've talked about, you can pretty reliably get it into the backfield somewhere, and that's a huge problem that your opponent now has to deal with.
Yeah, and next time you play me and I've got a Speaker of the Dead in there to give that preferred enemy infantry, along with his Great Frost Axe, like that would actually be kind of cool. I might actually do that, because I've got 2 Storm Eagles that are currently unaffiliated.
Right. So, like, for me, I was also thinking about, obviously for my Sons of Horus / Luna Wolves, obviously using them as a deep strike anchor is a huge thing for me, because I've kind of leaned more into the, as Sons of Horus players are wont to do, leaning into the Death Dealers build, which basically, if you are within 12 inches with a pistol, assault, or rapid fire weapon, you get ballistic skill 5. So Sons of Horus mid-range fire support squads are amazingly effective because they are hitting everything on 2s. essentially, if you position them correctly. So, I've loaded up my Justarin with a Warmonger all equipped with Combi Plasma. So the ability to deep strike them in reliably in a 6-inch bubble where I want them and then be able to annihilate something with Plasma Fire, it's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
And then as far as the Recon Storm Eagle kind of thing, even if you don't take the Storm Eagle for them, I think there's something to be said for that same kind of thought process, is kind of make them like a mid-range skirmish objective holder type unit, loading them up with shotguns and just letting them run around in the backfield shooting off, bare minimum in range. You've got 10 shots that you can then assault from. And then, obviously, if you're in assault range with those shots, you're proccing Death Dealers, so you're hitting on 5s as well. Or
What's the range on Death Dealers?
12 inches.
Well, yeah, because I think shotguns are 18 inches. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so you're not like auto proccing it, but it effectively,
think
if you're in that range, is where you want to be
If
anyway.
you were really canny on your positioning and good movement, keeping them in that 10 to 15 inch range away from things, or because since you've got the shroud bombs, having that little bit of added charge defense, since units have to roll leadership check to even see if they can charge you. Just that little bit of defense, and then the fact that you're going to get the 2 shots for your shotgun on Overwatch, like you're a reasonably defensible a unit, and if you are keeping them in cover, to take advantage of your stealth, then it's just adding distance to the charge range. So I think it would you would have to micromanage them a little bit more, and I'm not exceptionally good at that. But I think that if you were keen on doing that, like they could be a really difficult thorn to take care of.
I'm actually looking now, unless they've got an FAQ'd or changed somewhere. A Space Marine shotgun is a 12-inch range.
Oh, that's just me being incorrect, because I don't ever take them.
Sure. So so if you're loading your Sons of Horus up with shotguns, they are literally hitting on 2s all the time if they are in range to shoot with the shotguns.
I think that would be a big bonus for them, like just having reliable bolter equivalent and throwing wounds on stuff.
Plus the idea of, Sons of Horus with shotguns is just badass in my head.
I mean, shotguns on anything is cool. They just don't. They get overshadowed by other things.
For sure.
But it is a cool idea. I think now I'm with you. I think just kind of like what we did with the lances. Like, oh man, it'd be kind of cool to see some of this stuff play out.
Yeah, and I think we've made a better case for the Recon Marines than we did for the Power Lances.
Oh, significantly.
I mean, in fairness, there is a lot more to work with the Recon Marines.
Yeah, I
think there's some really cool opportunity for modeling too.
For sure.
I'm thinking, especially for the Space Wolves. I think that the first thing I've got to do is source some really cool recon armor, or an alternate power armor, because I don't know that I would always take the recon armor, especially if I'm putting them in a Storm Eagle. But I would want some different kind of armor than the standard Mark IV and III that I typically use, to indicate that they're a different unit entirely.
Honestly, I've thought about this a little bit, and I think if you were to just use the standard Forge World Mark IV armor kits, they're kind of scrawny and skinny enough. I think if you left the extra shoulder pads off of them, I think that would be a pretty decent proxy for recon armor.
I used scouts when I made 2 full squads of Recon Marines. I used scouts when I did them.
Sure, but then you have to use the scout models, which are
or
less than desirable.
So the oh man, what are they?
they're the one of the Primaris, the Reavers, like how they have those like partially cut away pauldrons, like
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah,
sides
the
are cut
Phobos
away.
Yeah, like the Phobos
Um,
armor. Yeah.
yeah, they look like, yeah, like those. If I was able to find ways to like manufacture those to go on top of just the standard shoulders, I think that those would look really good instead of like the full semi-round, like bulky pauldrons that typically come
Mm-hmm.
with those marks. I think that would be a really cool conversion opportunity there. The only downside being is I don't think that I would be able to do it well enough to also have the Legion insignia on there. But
Sure.
that's a fairly minor thing. But I think that could look cool. So yeah, I think that there's some really cool modeling opportunities there if you wanted to make them cool.
Yeah, and I mean definitely the Phobos kits. Even if you're not intending to use the legs or the torsos, the arms are really cool. They've got a lot of super tactical stuff. Like there's dudes throwing knives and like making like tactical hand signs, and got little scanners and stuff like that on
There's
their
a select
arms.
on, I think, on the one of the guys is actually popping smoke, which is kind
Oh
of
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, if you get
that,
the actual like
Those are pretty-
dark spear or whatever the fuck it is, shadow spear
those
guys
are
that
pretty
has,
good, yeah.
yeah.
See, now I'm thinking of having an entire unit of Space Wolf Recon guys where they've all got those the Forge World like the leather masks, or the ones where it's just got like the little like the short mohawk going down the back of their head, and then dual wielding like hatchets for a close combat squad. I think that that'd be cool as shit.
Yeah, for sure. And
And
then I
like
think there's
it would
also
just
something to be said for buying just this bog standard Mordathan squad and just filing all the Raven Guard insignia off of it.
Yeah, I
oh
was
god.
gonna say using like bog standard Mark 6, which hey, maybe it'll be in plastic soon. Because that's
Maybe.
what I plan to do for my Falcon's claws is just use plastic Mark 6 and don't put the pauldrons on because Falcon's claws come with a recon armor base.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about White Scars have like a dedicated recon unit.
So they're a little different, mostly in the fact that they are a melee dedicated force. They all come with lightning claws and have preferred enemy characters, I believe it is. They're in my opinion closer to close combat oriented seekers than they really are to recon marines.
Sure. Can they take a Storm Eagle as a transport as well?
I don't think so. They do have outflank, and they have a special scout instead of infiltrate, where they redeploy 12 instead of 6.
Hmm.
Ooh,
So they're kind of somewhere between a Seeker squad and a Recon squad.
Yeah, and they all have lightning claws, which is cool as fuck.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it definitely is. More lightning claws is always a good thing in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Oh, cool. Well, I think just like we did with the lances, like I'm definitely more keen on trying out recon squads because I haven't given them a lot of looks over the years, but I think that there's definitely some opportunities to utilize them and utilize them really well, not just you know shoehorning them in for the sake of, oh, this is different and new, but like some really tactically advantageous ways to use them in a lot of different armies. um, but yeah, I think we've had a really good conversation here. Does anyone have any other like major points they want to bring up? Because we've been talking about it for a little while.
I mean, I think
I
just
mean,
very briefly, like we we, we know that Recon Company right of war is a thing, and
Yeah.
I think we kind of just ignored that because that
Yeah,
like
for a reason.
yeah, because I mean, obviously, like taking Recon as troops, and like I mean, it is kind of a I don't want to say one dimensional, but I mean the use for Recon Marines in the Recon Company right of war is kind of fucking obvious. So
Yeah.
we're kind of trying to look at other things to do with them, but
Yeah.
before we get the angry comment, you didn't talk about my Recon Company, like yeah, we know.
Well, I'll talk about why Recon Company sucks real quick. Is because you can't take any Terminators, and I mean, what's really going to be deep striking except Terminators? There's some things, Assault Squad, sure, but I mean, come on.
I would make the argument of what is the point of playing this game if you're not going to include Terminators, but that's That's just how I play my game.
That's more of a
Yeah, I
philosophical
can,
question than a tactical one.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually, game-winning lists that don't involve Terminators.
Well,
That's a cool point.
Well, recon companies maybe.
I've not seen them win anything.
Fair.
My
you know,
custodians don't need Terminators.
You always, I've seen you take Terminators in your Custodes.
Not in 30k, you haven't.
I've only played your, I've only played your Custodes twice, I think. But in fairness, I did take Terminators and I won both of those games. So point Terminators. I've got a soft spot for and a hard spot actually for Terminators. I just think they're the coolest looking infantry in the game, but that's just a personal opinion. But I really love ways of like just throwing them on the battlefield because these walking like armored battle tanks basically that are just they can do whatever I want them to and they're fantastic.
I think
But having solid support options around them is key to making them work. And I think the Recon Squad done well would do exactly that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I was about, and like on like Chubb scale, I think I was maybe about a 4 on Recon Marines when we went into this cast, and I think I'm probably about a 7 or 8 Chubb on Recon Marines right now. I think I definitely need to give them another look, especially considering
in the
the armies
Imperial
that I
system
play.
for viewers, that's 3/4 Chubb he's at right now.
3/4 Chubb, yeah, that solid 3/4 Chubb for sure.
That is a percentage and an actual inch scale.
Yeah,
Woo!
exactly, dude. Man,
Covers all
he
bases.
never covers that much ground.
Does the 7th edition Power Fist Lightning Claw thing work in 30k?
As
Yeah,
far as
yeah.
being 2 specialist weapons, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I just messed around with an allied detachment for what we've been talking about tonight. It looks like you can do like 660 for solid performance on the mix of like the thing where the points versus reward without going too balls deep.
Yeah.
Fair
There
enough.
are definitely ways to do it. I think the conversation tonight has shown that like you can get solid use out of their build regardless of your Legion special rules or your Rite of War special rules. Like those just make those options better.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you people out there in internet land, I mean, if you've got thoughts on Recon Marines or if you've used them before and we've just been sleeping on them and you've been woke this whole time, definitely let us know. You can leave a comment on the SoundCloud page where this is going to get posted, or feel free to send us an email at the aforementioned Argel Talk Podcast at gmail.com. That's ARGELTALK podcast at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from
Remember
you.
to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, comment, subscribe.
Yep. Subscribe to our OnlyFans too to get some specific stuff that we can't talk about. here
Truly
on the radio.
triple exclusive content.
All the industrial scale fans. I've got one with 20-inch blades. I've really been eager on.
Get the video of us tattooing Gray against his will before
Oh,
everyone
wait.
else.
We're on OnlyFans. I thought we were on OnlyHands. I was posting bum fights. Shit.
Oh, God bless it.
I've been on the wrong site this whole time.
Communication amongst our team is just really lacking.
I fought like 3 hobos for no reason. So thanks.
I
guys.
wouldn't say no reason, just not the reasons stated.
Are you sure we're not on only bands? Because that's where Jake's Reddit account was.
It's true. I don't know. Somebody fucking skamazed my Reddit account, and I had words waiting for me when I logged on to look at Eric's pick of the week this week. So.
Oh man.
Oh, well, I think with that, I think that thanks for giving us a listen. If you have any questions or comments or some ideas for topics to carry on with, just reach out to us. You know, we really want to let y'all be a part of this community and have a voice. So always feel free to reach out to us and let us know your opinions. But I think tonight's been a fantastic conversation, and thanks guys for coming to bear with some really cool opinions and some options on how to make reconnaissance squads really awesome.
Yeah.
I love you all, and we'll talk again real soon.
Bye everyone, love y'all.